Pause. You stand at the base of a wall that looks like sky. Granite teeth, a seam the size of a promise. Wind hacks at your jacket. Below, nothing. A single dark mouth. Above, a sliver of sun, enough to burn your eyes. Your palms sweat inside the gloves. Your heart is a piston in your throat. You should step back. You can't, because someone is up there. Because the radio squawks a thin voice. Because the cliff doesn't care about your fear. You tighten the harness like a prayer. The rope hums when you test it. A line becomes lifeline. The first foothold is a rumor. You tell yourself, one move. You tell yourself, just reach. You tell yourself anything that keeps you upright. Step, your foot slides for the first time. You cuss under your breath. Adrenaline sharpens everything. The world is reduced to skin and stone. If you look down, you will lose the map. You keep your eyes on the seam. You breathe through the panic as if it were another muscle. It works for a moment. Pause. You think of the kit. Carabiner clicks, Prusik loop. Quick draws like metallic bones. You check knots the way surgeons check scalpel edges. Every knot has weight. Every piece of metal promises to hold or to betray. The wind finds the smallest gap and whispers fear. You clip and unclip like a metronome. You memorize the sequence, clip, wait, clip, breathe. Your hands tremble when you clip the anchor. You insist on slow hands. Slow hands are reliable hands. Pain is a translator. Your forearms scream from the static tension. You curse the sky for how high it is. A sudden call from above. A child, a climber, a trapped hiker. Faces flash in your head. You don't know them. You cannot leave them. So you move. You hook a toe. You find another grip. You hear rock fail like a bad memory. A shard falls, whistles past your cheek. You count backward to keep your mind from scattering. 5, 4, 3. A new hold. A new breath. Pause. Halfway now. Exposure opens like a cut. Your stomach is a dropped suitcase. The wind becomes a judge. You lean into the rope. Your body learns the balance between trust and control. Trust the rope. Control your reach. You test a flake with a palm. It crumbles. You curse again, louder, because noise is courage. You find a better path, a fissure, a hand-sized hole. Fingers wedge, they complain. You feel the tape at your knuckles peel like old vows. Muscles burn with fossilized memory. Your brain searches for the skill it used yesterday, last year, as a child on monkey bars. It finds it. You use it, grip, shift, push. A radio crackle. How are you up there? It sounds small, and you answer, alive, moving. You lie a little. You are terrified, and terror makes your edges sharp. You keep moving to dull the knife. A gust splits the light. You tuck your chin. Small motions, tiny victories. Sometimes that's enough. Pause. The middle is a throat. From here, both up and down look impossible. Your partner's voice becomes a lifeline. Calm, clinical, the voice of training. 3 points of contact, one move at a time. You obey like a soldier. You think of the rope below, of the anchors you placed. You remember the time you almost didn't come back from a different climb. That memory is acid and it eats at your confidence. But it also taught you something vital. You learned to check twice. You learned to scream when you needed help. Your hands find a smear of rough stone. It holds. Relief is a light you cannot carry long. A small rock shifts under your foot. Your breath jams. Your throat goes dry. You imagine falling. The world compresses into a single filament of possibility. Either you fall or you climb. Fear wants to freeze you. You choose motion. You breathe out like a metronome. Out, in, out. Each exhale peels away the panic. Your legs take more weight. Your arms start to obey Lebesgue's law of limits. The small increments add up. You inch, inch, inch. Tiny progress becomes distance. Pause. You feel the summit like a presence. A thin ribbon of air. A patch of granite lit by sun. Someone above yells your name. A human anchor. Your world narrows to handholds and that lit patch. You taste metal, the harness buckle. Every movement matters. One slip, a swing, a pendulum, a collision with the cliff face. You have in your pockets the memory of a past failure. You also have the training you earned with scabbed knuckles. You choose the latter. You pull with the muscles that learned to keep going when the sky was closer than the ground. Your shoulder screams. Your breathing becomes a drum line. You focus on the rock that's 2 reaches away. Reach, pull, set your heel, stand. You call out as if announcing a conquest. It comes out raw. I'm almost there. The voice above answers, 2 more moves. 2 more. You find a seam thin as a whisper. You slip a finger in. It fits like an oath. You push. Your weight transfers. The top arrives like an unexpected guest. You haul yourself over the lip. The world changes angle. Air fills different spaces. You collapse on the ledge. For a breath, you are nothing but a silhouette saturated with relief. Pause. You are on the same plane as the person you came for. They are pale, shivering, stronger when they see you. You secure them to the anchor like threading a life through a needle. Your hands are steadier now. There is an urgency then that is softer than fear, care. You climb them up, one motion at a time. They lock their weight into your shoulders. You feel the math of 2 bodies on one rope. It is heavier. But the heavier thing is joy. You almost laugh. Instead, you breathe. You check the anchor again because ritual keeps you safe. You talk to them, small things. Name, breathe, look at me. The ascent becomes a shared rhythm. You haul, they climb, your muscles shake. The cliff groans a tiny complaint. And then you make the last move. You pull them over the lip. You both roll onto the flat. Sun slashes across your face. You both laugh, and it sounds like crying. You are alive. There is a little blood on your knuckles. There is dust behind your ear. You taste fear on your tongue like a coin. You stand and you look down. The drop is still dizzying, but now it is below. A story you survived. You helped someone through it. You are different. Afterward. Later, when you shake out your hands, the adrenaline lingers like a second skin. Your legs negotiate their new normal. People congratulate you. You nod, as if the words belong to someone else. You remember the rope's hum. You remember the way your fingers found a seam. You remember that choice at the middle. To move. Facing your fear didn't mean it vanished. It meant you walked into it when your body told you to run. Fear will still visit. But now it sits at the kitchen table with you, less a tyrant, more a guest. You clean your kit the way you clean your wounds. You retell the story with cleaner edges. You tell the parts that teach. You tell the parts that warn. And sometimes, at night, you look at a cliff or a high bridge, and your chest tightens. You breathe slowly. You remember the rope and the way it pulled taut under your weight. You remember the voice that kept you steady. You remember that in the hinge between panic and action, you chose action. The climb didn't cure you. It proved you. You learned that courage is not the absence of terror. Courage is the single stubborn step forward when your whole body commands retreat. You learned you can be frightened and effective. You learned you can carry another human across a thin, precarious line. You learned to trust the rope, the knots, and yourself. And that is a lesson you bring down with you, like stone in your pack. In time, the climb becomes a story you tell at parties. But in the raw hours after, it is a private ledger of trembling hands and steady faith. You will climb again, not because you have to, because you remember how it felt to choose motion over fear, because the sun tastes different from the top. End.